Welcome back to Sugar. In this module, I'm going to walk you through how you transcribe a language sample to prepare it for a sugar analysis. First, when you're transcribing your language sample, you're going to transcribe it directly onto your computer, so into some kind of a word processing program like Microsoft Word. You will only transcribe the child utterances, not yours. Also, you don't include any identifying information. You just type in the child's utterances. And, we recognize this might be different from what you've done in the past, which is why we're telling you how to do it so that you can prepare the transcript for a sugar analysis. So again, you transcribe the sample directly into Microsoft Word, and you only transcribe the child's utterances. Before you start transcribing, you want to make sure that your numbering function is turned on. And so the red arrow indicates the way that you can turn it on. You go up to the paragraph section of your toolbar, you click on numbering. You will only be transcribing 50 utterances, so you want the numbering function on so that way you know when to stop. There are a lot of different ways that you can determine an utterance. For sugar, we use the idea that an utterance is a sentence or less, separated by a pause, 2 seconds or more, a drop in voice, inhalation, or any combination of those. So for young children or children who might have a language impairment, pauses marking utterance boundaries might occur in the middle of a thought as they're trying to figure out what they want to say. Those pauses could be filled, something like or they might be silent. So in other words, an utterance might be an abandoned utterance, an incomplete thought. It may not be an entire sentence. Importantly though, because we're trying to make this a time-efficient process, you should not belabor the process of utterance determination. Remember, when you're transcribing using a sugar analysis, you want to think speed. So you should only type the child utterances. You're typing using orthographic transcription. In other words, you're typing using English words as they're spoken by the child. When we say as they're spoken by the child, that means you don't embellish the child's utterance. So if the child says walk instead of walks, then you should transcribe that as walk. So you don't want to add morphemes or words that the child uses incorrectly or that might be missing. Finally, you can also omit punctuation to help you save time. Some tips for helping you with analysis later. First, even if the dialect or the pronunciation would allow for the form to be truncated, for example, talkin' instead of talking, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but transcribe it as talking. It'll help you with analysis later. Forms such as gonna, wanna, gotta, and have to should be transcribed as going to, want to, got to, and have to. The reason for this is because, as you'll find out later, in a sugar analysis, we count going to as 3 morphemes. Want to, got to, and have to all count as 2 morphemes. Contractions should be typed the way they were spoken. So, in other words, if the child said don't, then you should transcribe it as don't. Finally, do not include fillers or mazes. So, as I just said, you don't include fillers or mazes. You really only want to include the fullest form of what the child actually said. So, for example, if the child said, he said, he says, he tell me secrets, you would transcribe that as, he tell me secrets. If a child repeats words, you don't include them unless the child was repeating them for emphasis. For example, the child said, he went down, down, down in the cave. In that case, then you would keep those repetitions. Otherwise, you would not. If you have 3 or more words in an utterance that are unintelligible, then you simply omit the utterance, it doesn't count, it's not numbered, and you move on to the next utterance. If you have less than 3 words in an utterance that are unintelligible, you're going to keep those utterances and you're going to keep those unintelligible words. You simply use a capital X or two to mark the word, and then you move on with transcribing the rest of the utterance. So now what do you do with utterances that might be run-ons? Well, we think of a run-on as a sentence that contains 2 or more clauses joined with and we do not allow more than 2 clauses joined by and. So, for example, if the child was to say, "We went to the circus and I saw clowns and there were elephants and I got this sweet sticky stuff," you would transcribe that as, "We went to the circus and I saw clowns. There were elephants and I got this sweet sticky stuff." Notice on the second utterance that you omit that initial and. This rule only applies to and the reason is because when we examined our data, especially with younger children, and occurred with about 5 times more frequency than any of the other conjunctions. So this rule only applies to and. For any of the other conjunctions, you just let them come in as an utterance. In this slide, you're going to see the transcript of a child. On the left side is what the child actually said, and on the right side, it's transcribed according to the sugar methods. So notice on the left side, you see several words that are in red. So for example, you see, "When we gonna see mommy?" That's utterance number 3 on the right side, and you'll see it was transcribed as, "When we going to see mommy?" Similarly, you'll see on the 4th line down, "who" with the unintelligible word. And so you'll see utterance number 4 on the right side, it was transcribed as "who" and then XX for the unintelligible word. So this slide shows you the final transcript. This is exactly how the transcript should look once you have it transcribed, because now it's ready for analysis. So now, once you have your transcript, remember you're going to stop transcribing at 50 utterances. Once you have your 50 utterances, you can do one of 2 things. Either you save it to analyze it later, or you save it and now you can begin analysis. And that's the end of how you use sugar to transcribe your sample. In the next modules, we're going to walk you through how to do the analysis piece.